Here's how to start at 20 and retire by 30. I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens. Hey guys, bad hair day, decided to make something out of it. But in today's video, I'm gonna show you how you can go from $0 at just 20 years old to being retired by 30. It's not impossible, and I'm gonna do it without having you buy anything from me. It's crazy. There's YouTubers that exist that don't try to sell you a course or an ebook. What is the world coming to? Think of this video as a guide on where to spend your skill tree points on your character so that when you're ready to go into a boss fight and you rate it, you go into it with maxed out gear. So today I'm gonna give you an actionable step-by-step plan of how to manage your money, how to spend it so that you can start saving, getting yourself out of debt, and finally investing it so that you can retire just like magic. That intro sucked. Yes! Nailed it. Nailed it first try. Just remember, this video is for entertainment purposes only. First, I want to introduce you to a community. It's called the FIRE community, and ironically, they don't start fires. In fact, it has nothing to do with fire. I just wanted to show off. But it stands for Financial Independence Early Retirement, and it's this group of crazy people who think they can retire really early, like in their 20s, 30s, or even 40s, all really young ages. And even though I'm not 40, trust me, feeling young is a choice because you don't stop playing when you get old. You get old when you stop playing. Anyway, these people are in the fringe part of society. They don't really get mainstream media coverage because the man wants us to remain in debt. The man wants us to keep buying things we don't need to keep contributing to the ever-growing massive machine that is the economy. And ironically, if everybody watched my videos and took the advice, the economy would collapse. Savers are not good for the economy, but saving is good for you, which is why I'm so excited to share the FIRE community's secrets with you because I've been following them for the last 10 years. They're basically the Illuminati, and today I'm gonna make you a part of the Illuminati. It's amazing. Now, I became financially independent at around age 28, but it's by no means a life of luxury. In fact, far from it. I'm not wealthy. I don't have a net worth of $1 million. In fact, I don't have kids, and I don't even have a car. My net worth is floating at around $300,000 between all of my accounts. It's not much, and because of that, I have to make a lot of compromises like living with a roommate, not going out to eat, and not buying the latest iPhones. I'm basically a financial minimalist with no social life who has hit his midlife crisis. Just kidding. I've reached what's called the crossover point, and it's my goal with my YouTube channel to get as many people as possible to this crossover point where their monthly passive income has met or exceeded their monthly liabilities. Put simply, it means that I want people to make as much money while they sleep as money they need to pay for their bills every month, and that's how I was able to leave my 9-to-5 job to retire. But I'm not really retired because no one truly ever is. Instead, we find something we love to do where inevitably at some point we will start to make an income from it, and that's the dream. But to get to this crossover point where you can leave your job to finally make an income from your passion is gonna require you to set some new habits and follow the steps that I'm about to lay out in front of you. And this is not a new concept, but I do want to thank Reddit user Atlas Void for putting together a beautiful and simple, easy to understand flowchart of how to direct your money in order to get where you want to be financially. These are the habits you guys absolutely need to establish in your life, and I will leave a link in the description below this video where you guys can reference it. It's absolutely free, it's amazing, so use it, and let's get started. God, it took like 3 minutes to get to the point. Dislike, unsub, this guy sucks. The first step in preparation to this whole plan, and this is something you absolutely have to do, is you have to start tracking your money. There's lots of apps to do this, like YNAB, or You Need a Budget, but it's a paid app. And the free app that I use, because I'm frugal, is the Mint app. So connect all of your financial accounts to it, and it'll show you exactly where your money's going, how much is coming in, where you're spending that money. It's an amazing app. It's free. Go ahead and download it. Once you've done that, you guys can see this is all of my accounts. And at the top, it'll even show you your credit score, which is amazing. But be careful because it is not 100% your FICO score. It's a slightly inflated score, so you might want to subtract 20 to 30 points from that, and that's probably closer to your real score. Now, having said that, again, these are not all of my accounts, but it's most of them, and you guys can clearly see that I went way over budget on my Hawaii trip, which ironically enough, I got for free. Now, the first phase of our master plan is the essentials. This is money we absolutely have to spend here first in order to continue to make an income. Now, at first, this is going to be very obvious stuff, but I promise as we go along, it's going to pick up and it's going to get heavy, Doc. Doc, what the hell is a gigawatt? My favorite trilogy of all time, sorry. So first, you have to pay your rent and or the mortgage. Now, I know, super obvious, but you need a roof over your head to continue to make an income. Do you concur? I concur. Step 2, learn how to cook. This is so important. I cannot overstate how important this one is. You need to aim anywhere between $1 to $2 per meal. If you're not sure how to do that, Google frugal meal prep plans, and I promise it's gonna change your life. And also try to avoid eating out, because I realize that going out to eat is sometimes a social event. Birthdays, we have to sometimes, but it's so easy to overinflate this one. And again, I spend $100 to $200 per month, if that, on food. So 99-cent store is your friend, and try to avoid organics. They don't do anything. Please don't hurt me. Next step, pay for all of your essential utilities like your water, electric, and heating, and any other utilities that are responsible for your well-being and your hygiene. You don't want to walk into work smelling like an armpit. Be right back. Then pay for any expenses that allow you to earn an income in the first place, right? This is something like your car or your phone if you're an an S-corp, sorry. I do whatever it takes to earn an income. Can you say the same? I actually got rid of my traveling expenses. I don't have a car or insurance, so I get to save a lot of money, but mentally speaking, it cost everything because I don't have friends or vitamin D. Now, the financial FIRE community will actually tell you to move closer to your job or perhaps bicycle to work, or do what I did and I got myself a $600 brand new moped that's 49cc, $2 to fill up, and it gets me 50 miles to the gallon if I need to go somewhere close. And that saves so much money because people spend over $10,000 per year on transportation costs, so definitely look into saving money in this category. The next step we have to take care of is the dreaded health insurance costs. Now, true story, in order to save money by not paying for health insurance, I switched over to Geico. Just kidding, that has nothing to do with it. Actually, I could not afford $300 per month to pay for my health insurance after I left my job. So in order to get around that, I found a loophole. And the loophole was you can actually contribute something to the church. So I found a place called Healthcare Church Ministries where I was paying $40 per month, and it's not real health insurance, it's just a donation to the church, which acts as an exemption to health insurance. So at the end of the year, the government would not fine me for not having health insurance. It was this amazing loophole that allowed me to pay $40 instead of $300 for mandatory health insurance. Actually, Trump got rid of the healthcare mandate right now, so you're not going to get fined on the federal level, but on the state level, each state works differently. So make sure to double check with your state to make sure they're not going to fine you. Now, I'm not saying that you should do this, but I'm just saying it's what I did and it's an option to consider. Now, also at this point, you should consider making minimum payments on all of your debts, like your credit card debts and your student loans, and then Phase 1. Phase 1 is create an emergency fund. Now, you absolutely do not need an emergency fund depending on your situation. And trust me, Warren Buffett says so, so it must be true. Now, for me, for example, I have my Robinhood portfolio, and it's close to $200,000 of liquid assets that I can sell off in case there's some big emergency. Otherwise, my money is just losing 1% to 2% due to inflation, so I don't want to keep a lot of cash around unless I'm saving it for a down payment on a house, but that's a separate story. So an emergency fund is required for most people up to at least $1,000 for anything that might happen, or at least 1 month of your expenses, whichever one is greater. Also in this phase, we're going to pay for non-essential bills like internet and your phone. And phase 2 is where we can finally start to invest. If your company offers a 401k match, then that was dumb. Consider contributing here first, because forget about Robinhood, forget about individual stocks. This is free money, but contribute only up to the company match and nothing more at this point. The rest we'll save for later. If you're a self-employed freelancer or a jobless YouTube bum that no one wants to employ like me, then consider going with a solo 401k or a Han Swallow 401k, as I like to call them. And if your company offers an HSA plan or a healthcare savings account, consider prioritizing an HSA over your 401k because HSAs are triple tax advantaged. They're incredible. I can make a separate video about them. My girlfriend just got one from her job. Look into them if you don't know what they are. And then once you've done all that, move on to phase 3. Phase 3 is where we pay off mid to high interest rate debts. This is your credit card debt or anything that's in excess of 10%. We will focus in on here first. Now, this could be done with the avalanche or the snowball method, which ironically have nothing to do with snow or ice, but apparently finance people love fire and ice. And speaking of, Game of Thrones finale sucked. Well, do it live. Sorry, that was actually 2 different strategies that focus on 2 different psychological profiles of people. So pick one, whichever that appeals to you the most, stick with it, and tackle that debt. And phase 4, if you have any income left over, which hopefully you should at this point, then consider investing that money into a tax-advantaged retirement account like your IRAs. For example, I have a Roth IRA with the M1 Finance app. It's an incredible app. It's free. I'll leave a link in the description below this video if you want to set yourself up and help me out with one of the phases, the eating phase, but not a big deal if not, and consider maximizing your IRA at this phase. And also, if you have any large purchases that will help you grow your income, like certification for something, or in my case, equipment for YouTube, then consider saving it in a high yield savings account or a checking account if you really need that money immediately. Phase 5 is the gravy phase, the extra credit sauce. Try to save at least 15% of your pre-tax income. That number, by the way, is based on a research study that they did analyzing people's spending habits, and it showed that people would need anywhere between 55 to 80% of their pre-retirement income to support them in retirement. So for example, before I retired, I was spending around $22,000 per year. So I knew that in order to retire, I would have to have at least $11,000, 55% of that basically, or 80% of that to be able to retire in the first place. So at this point, if you're a freelancer like me, consider setting yourself up with a SEP IRA or a Han Solo 401k because that would really help you pay a lot less in taxes, which is nice. And also this could be moved higher on the list of priorities depending on your debt situation. But the trade-off is that even though you're gonna pay a lot less in taxes, the trade-off is that if you randomly find yourself wanting to buy a house like me, you could not get approved or approved for a lot less when you're applying for a loan because it's gonna show up as less income that you're earning. So that's the trade-off, something to think about. I honestly don't know what I wanna do with my income at the end of the year. What would you do? Comment down in the section below, let me know, I wanna hear your thoughts. Now, your unique situation could be improved slightly if we tweaked some of the steps inside this model, so please feel free to do that. And if you can save 65% of your income, you can be done and retired with life in as little as 10 years. And it is possible because I was saving 50% of my income when I was earning just 50K per year. So anything is possible. And also check out the link in the description below this video because it shows you what to do if you also have kids. If you found this video helpful, guys, smash the like button. Love you guys, each and every single one of you. Grind out the rest of this week and I'll see all of you lovely people on Friday. Guys, 200K, I can't believe we're here. I started this channel in January with 0 subscribers, and here we are at 200,000. This makes no sense, but I love you guys, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye-bye.